How far is too far when you're looking to buy a piece of hunting ground? Listen as Tyler Tisue and myself break down some of the key things you should be considering when you're looking to buy hunting ground that is not local to you. So here we go. New uploads here on this channel every single Thursday and Saturday. Podcast episodes on Monday at 5 a.m. Hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, hit that like button and subscribe. Let's get right into it. Here we go. So I want to ask you, because you're not a resident of where you own. Is that correct? I see a resident as like within 30 minutes, like in your backyard type deal.
Yeah, no, my farms, yeah, it takes me an hour and a half or to 3 hours to get to them. So yeah,
Mhm.
so it can definitely take me a little while. So I've had to adjust, with a lot of those, and with driving and figuring out arrangements of how to where to stay, what to do, things like that.
So, and I think that's a really common thing with people buying recreational ground. I mean, a lot of the buyers I work with are out of Chicagoland. So, if someone's listening to this now, I mean, what are some pieces of advice that they should really consider? I mean, 1.5 hours seems like a sweet spot of distance to where your house is. 3 hours starts to feel kind of like a stretch. So, like, what's some advice or words of wisdom on that?
Yeah, so for me, I don't mind actually the drive. I'm weird like that. I like to drive. First off, when I am driving, I'm literally calling up pretty much everybody I know, clients, everything else. I love that time period actually. It's solitude. I can take care of just getting in contact because this world, this business that I'm in, with selling land. I mean, it's about networking, and so I'm constantly on the phone when I do that. So I don't mind that drive. Somebody who's not in that type of world probably would not like a 3 hour drive.
Mhm.
That hour and a half is probably, just like you allude to, that's probably the sweet spot. But then even at an hour and a half, then you look into, okay, where am I going to stay? Because there's some days where you're going to want to spend the night or whatever. I've done multiple things here. See, and here's the thing: when it comes to land, and a lot of guys want to go in there and like, oh, I want to build a really nice cabin, and I want to have a really nice place, and that's probably okay right now. You can get your money out of it in this market, but in all the years I've been doing this, and I've even talked to bankers, and they're like, "Yep, 50% of what you put into it is pretty much what it is." It
Wow.
just they especially on a bigger farm. I mean, maybe you get that out of a smaller 40, 80 or something like that, but you get into like a 160 with like a small 1,500 square foot cabin or something like that. You're just not getting that value back out of it. So I really tell people whenever if they're gonna go put a place on there, be conscientious of your cost and your price, because most likely you're really not going to get that out of it, and you're not going to get a huge gain because people aren't looking to use that as their residence or anything like that. It adds value. It really just doesn't add price as much. So
So you would say kind of go the bare bones approach, because I will say I think that helps people actually maybe wanting to buy a parcel because it has that place to crash and it has like the bare bone essentials, and maybe extends that because like you said, like, okay, well, where am I going to stay? Where am I going to put all my stuff?
the bare bones essentials is exactly that. Now, I'm an exact example here, and I'll explain exactly what I've done. I bought a camper, and so I just stayed in the camper, and obviously I had some friends where if I need to go shower or something like that, I'd go do that. What I'm ended up doing is kind of the opposite of the advice I just gave. Is I'm putting a little bit of a place, but I'm trying to make it more of a. I just put up a 30, for instance, I just put up a 32 by 48 building on my farm, and I'm going to put like 32 by 20. I'm building currently. Well, as soon as spring really comes up, when I get the concrete in, I'm going to be putting in a little bit of a living space, where it's going to be one bedroom, one bath, so that way I actually have a place to actually shower. And my reason really was I can do the camper thing, but I've got a wife, I've got two kids, two little girls that are 5 and 3 that are starting, to somewhat take an interest. I just took my daughters out here, this past weekend, and they were finding sheds and they love that stuff and riding around the 4 wheelers and going and doing some fishing and stuff like that. So as my family has grown, that has become more important to me. Um, and so now when they come, I'm building this place here, and I'm going to make it somewhat nicer than it would be for just me. I mean, I can live in, basically anything and be fine. But my wife isn't that same way, and she wouldn't really put up with that. So I got to make it somewhat nicer for her. So, and a lot of guys can probably relate, to that once they do have a family, and a wife who, and my wife isn't a hunter, so that makes it even probably more difficult for me. So I got to make it, more enticing for her. So I'm building a place there, and I'll probably just put car siding all throughout and make it look like a log cabin kind of on the inside. I'll do a lot of it, probably myself, so I can keep that cost down.
Mhm.
But it's one bedroom. It's not. I'm not going to have a ton of money that I'm trying to put into this thing. I am trying to keep it cost conscious, there, because like I said, I think if I was putting something over $100,000, I'm not getting that back out when I'm all said and done with this thing. unfortunately, with prices the way they are, I'll just tell you, 32 by 48 building cost me 30 grand to have that
Mhm.
thing put up. You go and build, the inside out there, I'm probably looking at a minimum of probably an extra 40.
But you have a place to, I mean, at sometimes there's more than dollars and cents. Like there's consumption to that. Like you're gonna go there and make memories with your family, and what's the value of that? You're gonna all get more enjoyment out of it. So I mean, it's you have that also goes into a decision, in my opinion.
Correct, correct. Which is which is a big reason why I don't use the 401k stuff as much as I do real estate, because I like to enjoy the things that I like to invest in,
Sure. Yeah.
and that's just another way to do it. And my girls, as I want them to enjoy the outdoors, and I want my family to have an enjoyable experience when they come down. I don't want them to feel like, they're like, "You, daddy's, little cruddy cabin or camper or something like that," and mice
Yeah.
running around and everything else, and
Yeah.
they come back again. It
Yeah.
doesn't work out well for anybody.